beauty, isn't it? This is the new 4th generation Toyota Vios. Now, keep in mind that there are over 500,000 Vioses prowling our roads ever since its introduction back in the early 2000s. It's quite understandable why, because anybody that wanted a good, reliable, everyday car with a functioning interior that cocooned you in comfort as well as security in basically a good looking package, definitely a good looking package with the 4th generation Vios now. But basically anybody that wanted that has always turned to the Vios, and it's quite understandable. But before I tell you why and tell you all the goods and bads about the new 4th generation Vios, as usual, a quick word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I'd just like to take you a couple of seconds to tell you about BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, because it's not like any other petrol out there, because it features advanced German additives that go into your engine, clean out deposits that have already formed from before, and if you continue using the Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, you're basically ensuring that your engine continuously runs clean. So not only that, it also comes with an advanced friction modifier that goes in, reduces the friction of your engine, ensuring that you get maximum power and maximum fuel efficiency. Besides that, it also comes with 90% reduced sulfur. 90% guys! So what this does is, it makes sure that your engine runs clean, and it's also great for the environment. So the next time you pour BH Petrol's Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M, know that you're making the right choice. Now let's start with the design of the new Vios, because obviously it's a very handsome design, especially in this red. Under the sun, it looks magnificent because you see all the lines of the car, which I'll tell you about shortly. But the automatic LED headlamps are basically the first thing that's going to capture your eyesight, basically your imagination. And then after that, you'll notice this huge grille. Now if you notice that this is in line with the overall Toyota design language, because it somewhat looks like a compressed Camry, for my eyes at least. And then everything about it is functional. Take a look at this vent over here. Now this is not just a regular vent, this is actually a functioning vent. This is going to demonstrate that. Now take a look. So it actually comes out here, and what this is meant to do is that this is meant to circulate air around the car to actually enhance efficiency, aerodynamic efficiency. So the lesser the drag of the car, basically the better fuel efficiency. Now, during our drive here in Langkawi, before the drive even started, Toyota was sure to mention that the side profile of the car is designed to give it a more purposeful look, and how they actually achieved that partially was by pushing the wheels towards the edges, basically working with the overhangs of the car. Now, by extending the overall wheelbase of the car actually feels a little bit more compliant, more planted in corners. I'll get to that later during our drive review. But you'll also notice that you get this twin shoulder lines over here. This works brilliantly with the light, especially when the sun is just at the right angle, to give it a more elegant, more premium look. Toyota has definitely hit the nail with that. And then at the side, especially with the G-Spec, this is only available with the G-Spec, you get this camera that's placed under the side view mirror, and this basically gives you a full 360-degree view of the Vios. Perfect for when you're parking. Now, another thing that you need to know is that the ride height of the car has been increased by 5 millimeters. Now, basically, this gives it a more comfortable ride, Toyota says. Again, we'll discuss that shortly. But then filling the wheel wells are these new 17-inch wheels wrapped in 50 profile Continental tires. No complaints there. Now, powering the new 4th generation Vios is basically the same power plant as before. It's the same 1.5 litre engine producing 106 PS and 138 Newton meters of torque. However, what's different here is that there's a new gearbox, and this new DCVT gearbox utilizes a pulley as well as gearing ratios. From a standstill to medium speed is the pulley that does most of the heavy lifting, but helping it achieve a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour is basically the 2 gear systems that take it to the top end. And basically this power plant is designed for efficiency, However, despite that, it still comes with a dual VVTi system that sounds really great, but when you're really pushing it, the whine from that CVT gearbox can be a bit overwhelming. I'll show you that in a minute. And the back too is perhaps just as good looking as the front. Now, as I said, the overall car looks like a compressed version of the Camry, but that's not a bad thing. The Camry is a very good looking car as well. Now, it has carried that good looking genes into the Vios, and from the back, as you can see, it retains a very simplistic, very sharp, very simplistic design, and that's not a bad thing because look at it, there's nothing to complain about over here. Now, just like the front as well, it also has some functional designs such as this fin over here that basically works to reduce rear end air disturbance. So this basically enhances efficiency, it reduces the noise that goes back into the cabin, so it actually works as a functional design. Now apparently this diffuser at the back here as well helps in terms of aerodynamics, but if you notice at the side here, there's actually a cutout for an exhaust, but there's no exhaust that is protruding out. It's just actually, the exhaust is actually at the bottom, so you don't see any exhaust. Perhaps this is a design that we'll see in the future where perhaps there's going to be a GR Sport version or something with a proper exhaust. Now, the overall design of the interior, if you're a Toyota Vios owner, you will find this to be a very familiar place. The steering wheel has been carried over from the Vios, it's shared by the Vios in fact, and then these buttons over here for the air conditioning controls, even the start button and the design of these air conditioning vents over here, well, everything is familiar place for Vios owners. You do get electronic parking brake together with a hold function, so this I appreciate. Hold function in my books is actually quite important, especially when you're stuck in traffic. Talking about electronic parking brakes though, the G-Spec gives you disc brakes up front as well as at the back, but if you opt for the cheaper E-Spec, you're only going to get drum brakes. I haven't seen the car, I haven't driven the car, so I'm not quite sure if you get electronic parking brake in the G-Spec, but I suspect not because it's a regular drum brake. Yeah, my cameraman just confirmed that there's no electronic parking brake in the G-Spec, so there's none of that. Anyway, you get this amazing 9-inch screen over here. The thing that's worth mentioning over here though, even though I have my wire plugged in, this actually offers wireless Apple CarPlay, and that is amazing. If you follow my videos often enough, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of wireless Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. I think it's a very important feature to have. But talking about this, I hope you can see this, but if you can notice the glare, the reflection on this. So I just sometimes, actually in fact earlier today when I had my map on, I found it hard to see because the way the sun was angled, I couldn't see much. So the reflection on this screen, well, you can buy an aftermarket screen protector that reduces glare, so that will sort that out. But on the topic of wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you do get a wireless charge pad over here. So this, I'm not a huge fan of charging pads because for my phone at least I will need to remove my phone protector, my phone casing, only then it'll work, and I find that it overheats the phone. Your phone really gets quite heated up when you're using a wireless charge pad. But besides that, I mean, let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty of the new Vios, because if you compare this to the previous generation Vios, it's a huge departure. I know it shares some parts with the likes of the Vios. You might even see, I mean, Toyota is not going to like this, but you might even see bits of the Myvi over here. You know, that's because of Toyota does own Daihatsu, which basically is which Daihatsu is basically partners with Perodua, hence why part sharing with the Myvi as well. So besides that, the quality, I mean, soft touch everything. There's soft touch. Check out the stitching. You know, this is amazing for a car that costs about 96,000 ringgit. So I really appreciate that. And then here's another thing. Do you recognize this wheel position indicator right here. I hope you can see this. So if I turn my steering wheel, yeah, it's gone because it's, let's see this steering angle right. Now if I go to the left, it's telling me the position of the steering wheel. Do you know which other car has this feature? You guessed it, the Myvi. So, and then the other thing is, it also has the same customizable design, meter panel design. If I'm not mistaken, this is about 7 inches. It's an entirely digital meter panel, and you can customize the design. I mean, look at this. This is a different design over here. And then if I can change the design again, this is a different design again. Again, a different design. So these are bits and pieces that are part of, are from the Toyota parts bin, which is shared across the likes of the Veloz, again, the Myvi, the Vios, and we'll also see this on other Toyota models as well. The other thing that I really need to mention over here is the cup holder. I mean, this is perfect. I really like this. So you can probably guess that I do quite a number of Starbucks runs. I spend a lot of time on the road, so this is amazing. But Toyota always has a more human-centric approach to its design. So over here as well for the passenger. So this is great. So you don't get any cup holders over here. So this allows for more cleaner design, even though it's slightly higher, and it just translates to a slightly tighter sitting position. If you remember previous generation Vioses, it was lower, so you can really just sprawl your legs out and sit down comfortably. Right now it's almost like a Mazda, you know. I have the CX-5, and it's a very familiar sitting position because the tunnel, the foot tunnel, the leg tunnel is basically about the same. So I find this a bit tight. Other than that though, now the seat of the Vios, well, the G-Spec, you get full leather seats. Now look at them. They're actually quite comfortable. They provide just the right kind of support even when you're driving fast in corners. You're not slipping and sliding around because the side bolstering actually keeps you in place. I imagine that even during long distance drives, it's something you can get easily comfortable. Of course, in terms of width, it doesn't cover all your shoulders, but that's not a bad thing. Now, this tunnel though, this transmission tunnel, this center console, I find it a little bit too high. This is my natural sitting position, and the seat that I'm sitting in is a height adjustable. So if you can see, it's just right below my elbow. So I can get comfortable, but if it was slightly lower, I think it would be ideal. Now, the ultimate sacrifice is head space. I'm about between 178 to 180 centimeters tall. I can't remember exactly how tall I am. And look at this. It's only my palm barely fits in between the top of my head and the roof. So the roof line, because of the way it slopes down, it actually sacrifices on head space. Now I'm a Punjabi guy. If I had a turban, there's no way it's going to fit in here. But besides the roof line, I think the back end, the back seats of the Vios, actually quite comfortable. It's not a bad thing. Despite it having a longer wheelbase, you get the same amount of leg space. What I really like is you get your own air conditioning vents for the back passengers. But besides that, you also get a Type-C as well as a Type-A USB port over here, which is perfect for long distance journeys for the back seat passengers. And the other thing which I give full credit to Toyota to is the individual cup holders. This is perfect for one of those Starbucks kind of runs and such. I really appreciate that. So what about safety systems? Well, you know Toyota is no slouch when it comes to safety systems. In fact, it's probably one of the best at it. And the new 4th generation Toyota Vios has basically every type of feature in terms of safety that you can think of. It comes with the Toyota Safety Sense safety suite, which gives you things like pre-collision system, a lane departure warning, lane departure prevention, which basically pulls you back into your lane. It also has things like lane keeping control, automatic high beam, adaptive cruise control, which is one of my favorites, and front departure alert. But besides that, it even has 6 airbags, which full credit to Toyota, because it's not only, you don't only get 6 airbags in the G variant, but you also get 6 airbags in the entry-level E variant. Perfect, brilliant, right? And you also get things like pedal misoperation control, blind spot monitoring, front and back digital video recorder, so you don't have to worry about going out and buy aftermarket dash cam. And then you get of course ABS, brake assist, VSC, traction control, the works, right? And basically everything that you can think of in a modern car. So it basically checks all the boxes. That super important. Besides all those advanced safety systems, the new Toyota Vios actually is a much nicer car to drive than the previous generation model. Now you're probably thinking that even the first, second and third generation Vioses were already amazing to drive. It was basically a simple recipe of a comfortable interior, a decent powertrain, brilliant fuel efficiency. So how much better can it be? Well, Toyota has basically just sprinkled a little bit of awesomeness around the Vios and made it better. So in what form? Well, the suspension system, for one, has been updated and is now firmer. So this gives you better control over the body. So the car feels a lot sharper. Besides the firmer suspension system, it actually does a better job at absorbing bad road conditions such as potholes, such as ruts and dips and such. Despite that, even the chassis is now more rigid than the previous generation model. So this gives it a more livelier driving character. And despite it being more rigid, it's also 110 kgs lighter. Not just the platform, but the overall curb weight of the car is 110 kgs lighter than the previous generation model. So what this does is, it basically gives you better acceleration and better fuel efficiency than the previous generation model. So when you compare it to its rivals such as the Honda City, it doesn't produce as much power as the City does. But guess what? When it comes to acceleration, it's actually just as quick as the Honda City. How does it do that? Well, it's basically down to the fact that it's lighter, and that's why when your overall body weight is lighter, the engine does not have to work as hard, so you get better acceleration in that sense. Besides better performance and better fuel efficiency, the new Vios also has a quieter interior than the model it replaces, and it achieves this partially through the use of acoustic glass. So the driver's side, the front passenger side, as well as the windshield is made of acoustic glass that basically repels sound from entering into the cabin. There's very little. There's a truck that's going to pass by. I didn't hear any of that. There's a bike that's going to pass by. I heard very little of that. There's another bike. There's another bike. Basically, it stops sound vibrations from entering back into the cabin. But besides a quieter interior, you feel very little vibrations as well. Now the floor, well, is vibration free. You don't feel anything through the seat. And basically how Toyota has achieved this is through the use of foam technology. So foam has been inserted around selected parts of the chassis, around the body panel, perhaps even the door panel, and you do not get any of that, any vibrations back into the cabin. And this gives it a very serene, very quiet interior. So that's that then, guys. The new 4th generation Toyota Vios. It's proved to be, again, a very capable machine. I mean, it is a Vios. You do not expect it to be any lesser. And in terms of design, well, it's an obvious evolution of the entire Vios design language. I mean, you put it next to the legendary Toyota Vios, the Dugong generation, and you're going to be and just remove the badges and nobody will believe you that this is the new Vios, because in terms of design, it's a clear departure from previous generation Vioses. But It's in line with the modern Toyota design language, and that's a great thing because newer Toyotas look amazing. And the fact that it comes with all those safety systems, it comes with all of those onboard features such as wireless Apple CarPlay, an Android Auto, a charge pad, and basically everything that you will need in a car for your day-to-day business. And add that together with the legendary Toyota reliability, and you get this, the new 4th generation Toyota Vios. It's simply amazing, and it's true what they say, that you will never recognize this as a Vios. So drive it to believe it. At 96,000 ringgit for the top of the line G-Spec, which is what I just drove. I know it's a bit expensive. I know it's more expensive than before, but hey, that's not a bad thing considering everything that you're getting. Thank you for watching. Do consider subscribing.